Ladies and gentlemen, what an incredible day for football in Kansas City. The Chiefs just completely destroyed the Ravens at Arrowhead Stadium by the final score of 37-20. And with this win, the Chiefs advance to 2-2 on the season, and the Ravens fall to 1-3. And with this loss, Lamar Jackson is now 1-6 against the Chiefs in his last 7 games. I can't believe what I just watched. The Chiefs just completely embarrassed one of the premier teams in the AFC for 3.5 hours. They kicked the Ravens' ass. This is the best game that I've seen the Chiefs play as a team in 2.5 years. The Chiefs' offense was unbelievable. They put up 37 points against a Ravens defense that did have a lot of injuries. I want to be completely fair to them. They were out essentially their entire starting defensive line. They lost Ronnie Stanley in this game, their all-pro left tackle. And they've got a bunch of injuries. They lost Roquan Smith. They lost Wiggins, the cornerback. But at the same time, the Chiefs have not taken advantage of a bad defense in about 2.5 years. The last time they surpassed 30 points in a game was the AFC Championship game against Buffalo. So it was such a great thing to see the Chiefs offense come out in this game against a banged up Ravens defense and just stick it to them. I mean, everybody ate in this game, and we're going to look at the offensive stats in this because it was just an ass whooping for 3.5 hours, and it was just so fun to watch. But with that being said, let's go ahead and get into the passing statistics for both teams. Patrick Mahomes was 25 of 37 for 270 yards and 4 touchdowns. And actually, he ended up breaking a record that we're going to talk about in a minute. But this was Mahomes' first 4-touchdown game since October 12th of 2023. So his first time throwing 4 touchdowns in almost 2 years. So Mahomes looked unbelievable. He threw all of those touchdowns to different players. We'll talk about that when we get into the receiving stats. For Lamar Jackson, 14 of 20 for 147 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception that he threw to Leo Chenal. He fumbled the football, and then he didn't get benched. He left the game with a hamstring injury. I think that he didn't really fight very hard to come back in this game. So Cooper Rush ended up finishing out the game for the Ravens. He went 9 of 13 for 52 yards. Didn't look all that great, but he's a backup quarterback, so what can you really expect from him? I think the Chiefs beat the Ravens so badly that, Lamar Jackson kind of just gave up. And again, I've got no inside information on that, but he didn't fight that hard to come back, and he didn't limp off the field. It just seemed like, at that stage in the game, the Chiefs pretty much had the Ravens beat. And so at this point, if you're the Ravens, I don't know what you do. I mean, you were 1-6 against the Chiefs in your last 7 games. You lost to the Lions last week. You lost to Buffalo in the first week of the season. Now Kansas City. You're not a legit threat in the AFC anymore. And that is a tough pill to swallow for a team that is just completely derailed by injuries and poor quarterback play. And we're going to talk more about that later on. I do want to go ahead and show this graphic. This is from the NFL. Patrick Mahomes was the youngest all-time quarterback to reach 250 career passing touchdowns. It was great to see. He had 4 of them in this game. So Mahomes was dealing. And I want to go ahead and show the Chiefs receiving stats in this game. Xavier Worthy, the guy that we just completely needed on this offense, he had 121 total yards of offense for the Chiefs, but he had 5 receptions for 83 yards. His longest was that 37-yard bomb that Mahomes was able to complete. We're going to talk about that more. He was unbelievable, and he was really the straw that stirred this Chiefs offensive drink. Travis Kelce, 5 catches for 48 yards. It was good to see him out there. Hollywood Brown had 3 for 38. He also had a touchdown. Juju Smith-Schuster had 4 for 35. He had a touchdown as well. Brashard Smith was getting involved. He had 3 catches for for 27 yards. Isaiah Pacheco had 2 for 13. He also had a receiving touchdown. And Kareem Hunt had 1 catch for 13. And Tyquan Thornton only caught 1 ball in this game. It was for 11 yards. And it was an absolute just bullet from Patrick Mahomes, putting that ball on a line for another touchdown for Tyquan Thornton. Patrick Mahomes played arguably his best football that he's played in quite some time, and the Chiefs offense feasted in this game. And with that being said, let's go ahead and go over the rushing stats for the Chiefs in this game, because there are a lot of, not complaints on the running game, because they did do well. They ran for 118 yards as a team, but part of that is because Xavier Worthy was your leading rusher. He had 2 carries for 38 yards, and on that one end around, he was able to go for 35 yards. So, he is just such a weapon to have, and you don't put up 37 points against this Ravens defense without Xavier Worthy. And I was completely wrong. I thought he was going to come back in this game, and he was going to have somewhat of a quiet day. That didn't happen. He had, 121 total yards and didn't find the end zone, but that's going to come. Kareem Hunt had 13 carries for 35 yards. Pacheco had 7 for 34. Brashard Smith had 4 for 9. He was mainly getting those garbage time reps. Patrick Mahomes had 4 for 5 yards, and Gardner Minshew had 2 for -3. So overall, the Chiefs ran the ball 32 times as a team. They went for $118, averaging 3.7 yards per attempt. And the longest run was that end around to Xavier Worthy very early on in the game. But guys, this is the Chiefs offense that we've been waiting for, just begging for, and they went out there against a inferior opponent at home and went belt to ass. Andy Reid pantsed John Harbaugh and this Ravens team. He just completely, spanked them in public. This was a domination from the Chiefs offense, defense, special teams, outside of Harrison Butker, which we'll talk about that. But I look at this game, and I don't know how you're not coming away from it as a Chiefs fan feeling like, oh, we were about right here, and now we're right back in the division race. We're right back into the Super Bowl conversation. We're right back into the best team in football conversation, because you saw the Chiefs go out in this game and just take over. I mean, in every asset or aspect of this game, the Chiefs impressed. And I want to talk about this because this is going to be one of the major talking points that you hear from the national media this week. Oh, the Chiefs went out on Sunday and they beat a banged up Ravens team that had 6 starters out on defense and their offense struggled. You're going to hear that as a negative for the Chiefs. Here's the thing. The Chiefs, for the longest time, have struggled to beat teams that are banged up. The Giants are a perfect example. Last week, it was not an easy game by any means. Going back to last season, the Chiefs could not put teams away. All those one-score wins, and the Chiefs got criticized. They just went out against a contender in the AFC and just completely spanked them. And I think they need to get a ton of credit because they controlled it from start to finish. They looked good. And I think that, going forward, this offense is only going to get better, man. You're going to get Rashee Rice back in a couple of weeks, and this offense is going to take off. The offense that we saw today was the offense that we have been told was going to happen for a couple years now. Xavier Worthy made the entire difference out on the field today. Almost makes you wonder that if he didn't get hurt, if they could potentially be 3-1 or undefeated at this point. But it's just so good to have X back out there. Everybody contributed in some way. This offense was clicking, man. They were clicking against a defense that just had no answers for what they were doing. And I want to talk about this because we have heard for the longest time that Lamar Jackson is Patrick Mahomes' biggest threat in the AFC, going back to all the regular season matchups and the AFC Championship game when they met up. We keep getting told that Lamar Jackson is a legit threat to Patrick Mahomes. If you've watched the football games, he's really not, because the Chiefs defense had him dazed and confused all of today. I know that there might be some pushback on how good the Chiefs offense actually is. There's no denying how great the Chiefs defense is. I mean, they held Derrick Henry in check. They had Lamar Jackson just completely frazzled. He was stressed out. He, threw one interception to Leo Chenal. Drew Tranquill recovered a fumble. Lamar Jackson continued to make those mistakes. It's because the Chiefs defense were blitzing him on damn near every drop back. And I think that you've got to give so much credit to this Chiefs defense for once again holding the Ravens offense in check. Coming into this game, the Ravens had the best offense in the NFL. And the Chiefs defense said, nuh-uh. And we did not see them impose any of their will in this game. Goodness gracious, Chiefs Kingdom. I mean, that was, again, the best win that I've seen in over 2 years. I think, I even tweeted it out, this was the best game the Chiefs have played in 3 years. I think you can go back to the Chicago Bears game where they just completely destroyed them, but the opponent was different. This is a Ravens team that is projected to be a AFC contender, someone that could go to the Super Bowl. And I don't know how anyone is going to say that after how they look today. And I'll say this, I think for all of the criticism that Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry and John Harbaugh are going to get, they deserve it. They really do deserve it because they have struggled against truly elite teams. And it seems like when asked to go out and beat a team like the Chiefs, they've always fallen short. They always have. If you blitz Lamar Jackson, he's a different player. I don't know why they got away from running the football. You'd think that a team like the Baltimore Ravens that have the best dual threat quarterback in the NFL and a running back like Derrick Henry, who's as big as a linebacker, you'd think they run the ball. They didn't really do that in this game. And if you make Lamar Jackson beat you with his arm, he's not going to do it. And I want to talk more about this just ass whooping, and we'll do that right after a word from our fantastic sponsor. This video is sponsored by my friends over at DM Injury Law. Injured in an accident, you could be entitled to significant compensation, but time is critical. Rely on the experienced personal injury attorneys at DM Law, Kansas City and Missouri's top injury law firm. DM Law is a full-service personal injury practice supported by a large team of investigators, case managers, medical record specialists, and more. And best of all, you don't pay unless they win. DM Law operates on a contingency fee basis, meaning no fees unless they win your case. And they also provide free consultations. So if you've been injured, don't wait. You can contact DM Law today for a free consultation and learn how they can help you pursue the compensation you deserve. Let them handle the fight while you focus on healing. Hurt in a car wreck? Call Mike. Remember, Mike's got this. The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisement. Thanks to DM Injury Law for sponsoring this video. Huge thanks to the sponsors that have supported me and this channel all football season long. Now, getting back into this impressive Chiefs win, I very briefly want to go over a couple of negatives. We kind of have to talk about Harrison Butker now. He wasn't god-awful in this game. He did miss a 56-yard field goal, and it was a 6-point swing because Baltimore ended up getting the ball back, and they went down and kicked a field goal before half. So it was a 6-point swing. In a close game, that could have been the difference. And so, I mean, there might be an issue with that, but I don't really want to, highlight that because he was still able to make every other kick an extra point outside of that 56-yarder, but that could be something to monitor going forward. And we'll talk about that in more detail, later this week, but I just want to celebrate this win, man. I mean, again, it's very rare nowadays that the Chiefs go out and, completely pummel an opponent. And I definitely wasn't expecting the Chiefs to pummel the Ravens like they did. This almost reminded me of when the Chiefs beat the 49ers a couple years ago, where they just completely just dominated them. And this was very similar to that. Man, I'm pumped. I'm hyped. This was a unbelievable win, and the Chargers lost earlier this afternoon, and so you are right back in the AFC West race. I believe you're only a game back now, so that is such a great sign, and you're going to have a chance to, hopefully control your own destiny when you play them later this year. So drop your take down in the comments, below. How are you feeling after this impressive 37-20 win over the Ravens at Arrowhead Stadium? I'm impressed. I'm really, really impressed. I thought they looked great offensively. They're still a championship caliber defense. Shout out to Chris Jones for flying in from Mississippi to attend his aunt's funeral and, to play with all of those emotions and to be able to go from landing at 240 and then playing at a 325 kick. Super impressive, and, thoughts and prayers with Chris Jones and his family. I'm sure playing today was not an easy task. So, again, I'm going to celebrate this Chiefs win. I think we've got a lot to talk about this week. If you guys have not already done so, hit that like button and subscribe to this channel. We are trying to build one of the largest Chiefs fan bases on YouTube, and I would very much so appreciate that. Once again, the Chiefs just destroyed the Ravens at Arrowhead Stadium by the final score of 37-20. Until next time, guys, thank you for watching this video. And as always, go Chiefs.